Ever stop to wonder, when you're scrolling through your phone, looking at a building, or even watching a rocket soar into space, just how does any of this work? And more importantly, who decided it should work this way? I mean, we're talking about the very fabric of reality, the laws that govern everything from the smallest atom to the largest galaxy. And at the heart of it all, there's a name that echoes through history, Newton. But the question isn't just who was Newton, it's who accepts Newton. Think about it. We learn about Newton's laws in school. They're the foundation of physics, the bedrock of engineering. But does everyone, everywhere, just blindly accept them? Are they just something we're told to believe, or is there something deeper, something more universal at play? Let's rewind a bit. Isaac Newton, a 17th century polymath, gave us the laws of motion and universal gravitation. He basically explained why apples fall down and planets stay in orbit. Groundbreaking stuff, right? But the world was a very different place then. Science was still wrestling with philosophy, religion, and magic. So, when Newton published his Principia Mathematica, it wasn't an instant, universal aha moment. Initially, there was skepticism. Some philosophers, still clinging to Aristotelian physics, found Newton's ideas too abstract, too mathematical. They argued that his concept of gravity acting at a distance was occult, meaning it seemed magical, without any clear, tangible mechanism. Then there were the religious debates. Some saw Newton's laws as proof of God's divine order, while others felt they diminished God's direct involvement in the universe, making it seem like a giant, clockwork mechanism. This was a time when the relationship between science and religion was far more intertwined and contentious than it is today. But Newton's genius wasn't just about coming up with equations. It was about providing a framework that could be tested, verified, and applied. And that's where the acceptance started to grow. Scientists across Europe began meticulously testing Newton's predictions. They observed planetary motions, calculated trajectories, and conducted experiments with falling objects. And time again, Newton's laws held true. The more they tested, the more they found that his equations accurately described the world around them. The acceptance wasn't just about experimental verification, though. It was also about the power of prediction. Newton's laws could predict the positions of planets with incredible accuracy, even predicting the existence of Neptune before it was observed. This predictive power was undeniable. It wasn't just explaining the past, it was foretelling the future. And then there was the practical application. Engineers began using Newton's laws to build bridges, design machines, and navigate ships. Suddenly, the abstract equations were transforming into tangible, real-world solutions. The Industrial Revolution, in many ways, was built on the foundation of Newtonian physics. But even as Newton's influence spread, there were still pockets of resistance. Some continued to cling to older theories, some found his work too complex, and some simply didn't have access to the resources needed to understand or verify his findings. And here's where it gets interesting. Acceptance wasn't just about intellectual assent. It was also about cultural diffusion. Newton's ideas spread through scientific societies, universities, and publications. Think of it like a meme spreading today. It needed platforms, communities, and a shared understanding to gain traction. But who, exactly, were these people who accepted Newton? It wasn't just scientists. It was also educators who incorporated his laws into their curricula, shaping the minds of future generations. It was also inventors and industrialists who saw the practical potential of his work. And it was also, eventually, the general public who began to see the world through a Newtonian lens. However, the story doesn't end in the 17th or 18th century. As science progressed, we began to uncover limitations to Newton's laws. Einstein's theory of relativity, for instance, showed that Newton's laws break down at very high speeds or in very strong gravitational fields. Quantum mechanics revealed that the world of the very small operates according to different rules altogether. So, does this mean Newton was wrong? Absolutely not. It means that science is a process of refinement, of building upon previous knowledge. Newton's laws are still incredibly useful for describing everyday phenomena. They're the foundation upon which much of modern physics and engineering is built. And here's the crucial point: acceptance of Newton wasn't a static event. It's an ongoing process. We continue to use, test, and refine his laws. We apply them in new contexts, from space exploration to nanotechnology. And even as we discover new theories that go beyond Newton, his work remains a cornerstone of our understanding of the universe. Today, when we talk about accepting Newton, we're not just talking about individual scientists or engineers. We're talking about a global community, a collective understanding that has been built over centuries. We're talking about the countless individuals who use Newton's laws every day, often without even realizing it. Think about the GPS in your phone, the design of a skyscraper, the trajectory of a satellite. All of these are built upon the principles that Newton laid down centuries ago. So, who accepts Newton? In a sense, we all do. We accept him every time we rely on technology, every time we observe the natural world, every time we use our understanding of physics to solve a problem. But acceptance isn't blind faith. It's based on evidence, on testing, on practical application. It's about understanding the limits of our knowledge and continually striving to expand them. It's about recognizing that science is a journey, not a destination. And that journey is ongoing. New discoveries are constantly being made, challenging and refining our understanding of the universe. But even as our knowledge evolves, Newton's contributions remain a fundamental part of our scientific heritage. So, the next time you see something amazing, something that seems to defy explanation, remember Newton. Remember that behind every piece of technology, every scientific breakthrough, there's a foundation of knowledge that has been built over centuries. And remember that the question of who accepts Newton isn't just about the past. It's about the present and the future. It's about how we continue to use, test, and build upon his legacy. It's about the everyday person using a smartphone, the architect designing a building, the astronaut navigating space. It's about the continuous process of verification and application that solidifies the impact of groundbreaking science. It's about the global understanding of the laws that govern our universe, laws that, in many ways, began with Newton. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.